so we actually graduated from the same program. And we presented last year at a state counseling conference on helping school counselors help LGBT high school students find a college, university that kind of fits their needs, their wants, and their desires. So that's kind of how we got started with this whole project. But really, what you're getting today is kind of just a shortened version. We're essentially just going to provide you with some tips, some basic resources that you can use. So I think that you have a handout of our PowerPoint. There are several links within that PowerPoint that you can take home with you and do some research on your own time, because it does require a lot of research. There really isn't one go-to spot that you can use to find out all the different information that you'll need when looking for a different college or university. And I think joining the website, the Campus Pride, is a great resource to have. And actually, when we were looking at the website, we saw this on there. This is the Advocate College Guide for LGBT students. I'm actually going to pass this around, but I want you to just take a look at it. It actually rates each college and university in the state of Ohio based on several different factors. Anything from organizations, having an LGBT center, scholarships, LGBT-related courses, sensitivity policies, etc., etc. So be sure to take a look at it. It's a great book. You can usually check it out through Ohio Link, or maybe even through your public library as well.
And one of the most important things probably to take away from our presentation today is all the web links that we provided. Just keep those, hang on to them, and go to them, because it's really, there's so much out there that can be of use, that can guide your search, that it's really kind of hard to talk about it all in 20 minutes. So just keep those in mind and look at them, and just really try to do your own research on them, because there's way more out there than you might think.
So these are just some things that you should be looking for, whether you're a student, whether you're a parent, if you're going to be touring campuses with your mom and dad. These are different things that you can look out for. So what is the university's policies and the procedures for hate crimes, for LGBT harassment and discrimination? What is their religious affiliation? Do they have any support groups, any counseling services available specifically for the LGBT population? Also, another thing that you can just sort of even find out by observing when you tour campuses is their safe zone offices. So if you're walking through the halls of a building, pay attention to the faculty members' doors. Are there safe zone signs posted? If you don't see a lot of them, then that probably gives you a good clue as to, well, maybe this is not going to be a friendly campus for me. A lot of universities will also provide separate training for safe zone faculty and staff. Also, course studies, as I mentioned before. I think it would be such a great benefit to be able to take a course that relates specifically for LGBT students. You know, not every university offers those courses. I don't believe that actually Ohio University has any.
Maybe a couple now, and maybe I think they were out of our department. They were early in the summer. There were a few one-day workshops, maybe. But
yeah, as Dwayne said, and he graduated actually just a year after I did with my bachelor's. There wasn't a lot on campus 10 years ago. OU has really come a long way, and we're not necessarily here to speak for OU. We're not going to try to convince you to go to Ohio University. But it has traditionally been known as an LGBT-friendly campus. And so their website does have a lot of, just an abundance of resources available to you that you can also check out. So within the book that I'm passing around is the gain point average. It ranks each campus. You can take a look at that as well. It's on page 25. The highest ranking LGBTQ friendly campuses in Ohio, also Ohio State University. Antioch, Bowling Green, Case Western, and those are just a few. I think that campuses are becoming more and more friendly as time goes on, but I think those are probably some of the major campuses that you might be looking into. So this is the link for Ohio University's LGBT Center website. You mind opening it real quick, please? So once the web page opens, you can immediately see and become aware of how many resources Ohio University has. So when you're looking for other colleges that you might be interested in, look for an LGBT Center webpage or a student resource center. because it'll give you a good idea as to how many services and programs they have available on their campus. If you can't get it open, that's okay. Again, it's in the handout, in the PowerPoint, so.
And too, and like Danielle said, we're not trying to push Ohio University on you, but even if you are deciding to go to a college somewhere else, Ohio University's website up there has a lot of just general resources in terms of scholarships and just all sorts of other resources as well. So if you would decide, regardless of university that you decide, it's a really good website to kind of keep file away and go to regardless of where you are.
Yeah, so just some of the things that Ohio University offers, and these are probably similar to the other events and social activities that other campuses offer, include an orientation at the beginning of the year to help LGBT students connect with the community, other students on campus. They also have movie nights, other social events. They have a separate lounge space, separate center again for students. Let's see, what else do they have? Celebrations, Pride Week, coming out week.
Pride Week.
So I guess the point is to kind of look at how community-oriented the university is. Are they getting out there and collaborating with other people in the community? And Alex, I think, is going to talk about some of the specific groups and programs and services that Ohio University offers.
Yeah, we have several different groups related to LGBT individuals on campus. One of them is, probably the most common one is Open Doors. It's just an organization of, it invites all individuals, LGBT or allies, to just kind of get together and form a sense of community. Because even though OU is a very LGBT-friendly campus, it still is a small campus and it's a small town. So it is a good idea to just kind of provide a way to find some sense of community there and to know that you're not by yourself. You can just reach out. Outgrads and non-grads is a relatively small group. It's for open to individuals who are graduate students or who are undergrad or graduate non-traditional students. So if you may be older than traditional college age and you want to get involved in that community, it's a really, really good group to be a part of. Like I said, it's a very small group, but it's still a good group to be a part of. Ally is similar to Open Doors. Open Doors is more socially focused, I would say, just based on my experience, and then Ally is more activist focused. Ally does a lot of work just advocating for LGBT equality and rights on campus and in Athens. And some of those are all just general campus groups that you can be involved in terms of activism or social groups. But then there are a couple support groups. If run out of counseling and psychological services, if you are experiencing some difficulty transitioning to college and finding your own identity while doing that. The Rainbow Room is open to LGBT individuals. And it's has an open focus. I was a co-facilitator of one quarter back when we were still on quarters. And it's just a way to find support for whatever stage you are in the coming out process or the development process, just to kind of share your story with other individuals and kind of just to connect in a way. And then Spectrum is our transgender support group, so that Athens is a very small transgender population, so and there's lots of other issues that are unique to that community, and that's a community within itself, so that's why the two groups are separate. And like Danielle mentioned, Safe Zone training. OU does offer frequent Safe Zone trainings for its students, graduate students, faculty, and administrators. Again, I'm Safe Zone certified. I'm pretty sure Danielle is as well. It just involves a 2-hour training on just information that you want to be aware of as a student or as a faculty member. It's really, really helpful. You can look more of that up on the internet if you just Google Safe Zone training. And then Speak Out is a panel format if you want to, It involves students coming in to talk to various classes about their experience as coming out and just how the way that they've been treated on campus. So it can be really, really enlightening to, especially for heterosexual population, just to hear other individual stories and hear all the things that maybe they might take for granted, or things that they might say in class that may be perceived as offensive to some people, even if that's not the intention. So that's really, really helpful. And then also in our LGBT center, there's an LGBTQ library, just a lot of various resources, magazines, books, and even television shows. It has a wide variety of things. So, all of our services that we do.
So in terms of financial aid, looking for scholarships, other support resources, there are some major websites that you can go to that will provide you with links as to where you could apply for financial aid and other scholarships. These are just kind of general websites. A lot of them you've probably already heard of. Campus Pride Net, of course, the Matthew Shepard Foundation. So again, you can just kind of look through them on your own time. I think all of these are quite popular websites and provide just an abundance of information. But when you're talking about financial aid specifically, there's both national and regional scholarships that are available. So some of them are exclusively for students from a particular geographic region. Others are nationwide. Some scholarships are provided by organizations and agencies. But that shouldn't limit what exactly you're looking for. So we've listed some of these scholarships that are available, state and regional, and also the national scholarships. So at OU, we have the Stonewall Leadership Award. At Penn State, I'm sure OSU has some scholarships specifically for students looking to come here. So again, if you already have an idea of where you want to attend or narrow down your choices to maybe 3 different universities, you can start looking at what types of scholarships do they offer. Because some universities will offer more than others depending on their funding, any grants that they've received, any donations that they've received from alumni, etc. And so, again, like I said, don't limit yourself to these types of scholarships, but this is just something to kind of give you a start of what is already out there and available to you.
Depending on what field you want to go in, certain disciplines, like one of them dealt with journalism, so that could be an additional help depending on your field. They may provide additional scholarships, and some of them range. Some of them aren't that much. Some of them start at between $250 and $500, and then some of them go up much higher. So it just depends on which one you do. But probably the most important thing you could do is not only take a look at the websites that we provided, but just kind of do a Google search of LGBT college scholarships, and you'll find a ton of information. And there's probably new ones, more and more developing every day.
So finally, we've listed just some books, magazines, online forums, other types of social networking websites, things like that, that you personally will be able to socialize, meet other people, find some emotional support even if you're having some difficulties. Again, transitioning from the high school to the college environment, which is a difficult process in and of itself, especially if you're moving away from home. So these are some things that you might want to take some time and become familiar with. You can find some information. The different magazines that I particularly know of, Fusion. How many of you have heard of Fusion before? I think it's a pretty popular one. It was actually started at Kent State University a few years back, and it's become one of the best-selling magazines. Most of these, if not all of them, I believe are available online. You do not have to have a subscription to them. Instinct is aimed specifically towards gay men, while Curve magazine is aimed specifically for lesbian women. The one thing I thought that was interesting about Curve is they actually post advice columns, wedding ceremonies. It kind of provides its own personal dating service. And I thought that was really interesting. Curve is really a comprehensive website. So just about anything you would be interested in, fashion, style, entertainment, art, TV, photography, and also some news and politics, things like that are available on the Curve magazine website. The Advocate is mostly news-based. It's for people of any type of sexual identity. And so it's a lot about politics, legislation. So that's also a good resource to use as well. Icons magazine is aimed specifically for Black urban women. So it talks a lot about television, beauty, health, lifestyle, things of that nature. And then the Out Traveler GPS is another one that I tend to like. It helps people who identify as LGBT when they're traveling, so finding LGBT-friendly hotels, destinations. And it was created by the publishers of Out Magazine and The Advocate. And it's worldwide as well. So, you know, if you have developed a social network on campus, or you want to go with some friends from home, the Out Traveler GPS might be a good place to start. So, I mean, that's pretty much all that we have for you today. You know, if you have any questions, feel free to come up with a break and ask us. We also have our email addresses on here, so if you would actually like an electronic copy of the PowerPoint, we'll be more than happy to send it to you. That way you can just click on some of the links instead of having to look at the handout and try to read what it says. So does anybody have any questions?